You know, sailing around this magnificent coastline, you can't help but realise that everything you need in order to sustain yourself is actually here. It's just trying to figure out exactly the systems you need in order to harvest it all. First 3 years on this boat, we've always had some semblance of solar, but it's never been enough to do all the things that we wanted to do with our electricity. Always just need to think about how to harvest more of the sun. There's so much water all around us, it's plentiful, but you can't drink it. And food, there's an abundance of food all along the coastline, both on land and in the sea. Do you know what you're picking, and do you know how to catch those elusive fish? And that's really the story of this year's adventure. We really want to refine those skills and become more self-sufficient in a world that has never seemed quite as bananas, with inflation and food crisis and wars and pandemics and all this bonkers stuff that just keeps happening one after another after another. There's never felt like there's a more poignant time to start dialing in our systems. And today might be the first day that I think we've managed to go fully off-grid thanks to 2 amazing upgrades, which I'm going to talk to you about now. Let's go check them out. After living on the boat for several years now, one of the places we've always come up really short is being able to generate enough power to fully live off-grid on our old sailing boat. And last year was no exception, even with the addition of the winged solar panels. Now, we spend most of our time at anchor, so we thought it might make sense to have some sort of deployable solar. So today's the day we're going to deploy said solar. So this amazing gizmo that you can see behind me that Carly's just put up, this is called the Flynn Sail. And we didn't invent it. It was actually a really genius company called Flynn Solar. And what I really love about them is they're constantly thinking outside the box. And this particular system is their 300 watt version, but they come as low as 200 watt and they go all the way up to the dizzying heights of 600 watts. Now, full disclaimer, Flynn Solar did actually offer us the most ridiculous discount on any one item that we picked from their shop. And I straight away went to the 600 watt panel. We need the 600, we need as much as possible. But the reality is, even with their incredibly generous offer of a discount, the 600 watt version for us mere mortals was just financially a little bit out of our reach. However, the 300 watt is still amazing. It's a fantastic piece of kit, and it's perfect for roughly this time of day. Yeah, either early in the mornings or early in the evenings as the sun's low in the sky. This is when the Flynn Sail really comes into its own. It's bumped up our ability for those particular periods in the morning and the evening by over 150%. That's a 300 watt system on a total system now of 1050 watts and 150% plus increase on those times a day. Brilliant. The whole system's doing 350 watts, 175 of that is coming from the 300 watt Flynn solar array. So the lion's share of what we're producing this morning is coming from just that one array. And hopefully that's going to be enough power to enable the next piece of our upgrade puzzle. And all the way from sunny Australia. Okay, so we've gone for the 230, 240 volt application. So because we've got lithium batteries and we've got a Victron 3000 inverter, multi-plus inverter. That means we can just plug this straight in as if we were in shore power. And we thought about one of the 12-volt models, and it's just the litres per hour are going to be quite low. And then your other option is a petrol burning motor, which you can use to power the water maker. But again, for us, that kind of defeated the object of going off-grid, trying to use as few fossil fuels as possible. So that's why we settled on this bad boy. That's the beating heart. The beating heart can go down here for a second. You're going to inspect the goods. All right, Kylie's going to give this whole water maker a go, and we're going to drink some seawater. It's weird, but I know it's doable. That just goes.
High pressure black hose. So this one's going to chuck out all the nasty stuff. So that one.
So that's our brine, the green. The intake hose that comes in here into this machine, this compressor. This is the pre-filter, and then that water gets sent through this high pressure hose all the way over here, over to the reverse osmosis membrane, which Carly is just figuring out now. It's alive! So now, in order to start taking the particulates out of the water, we need to turn the pressure on, don't we? And then the instructions basically say, when it starts running, let it run through for about 30 seconds or so, and then taste it. So, let's give it a go.
You reckon that's 30 seconds?
Yeah.
You ever counted to 30?
Yeah. So strange. Alright.
Sure, it doesn't very clear.
Kylie's clearly a little bit paranoid about drinking the old seawater. Do you need to depressurise it and then turn it off? Moment of truth. Don't look too happy about it. Come on, this is us going off grid. We're going to be self-sufficient. This is what we dreamed of. Come on.
Tastes alright.
It's alright.
There's no salt, no flavourings, no nothing, just pure water.
That's alright.
It's alright. Hank, you want some? What's this? Hank, come.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, before Hank sticks his face in there, let me... Yeah, those little bits are just bubbles. Excited about that? It really doesn't taste anything at all, does it?
Just water.
Just like a kind of wet nothingness.
Tim?
Now for Hank to drink out of a cup, he must either be really thirsty or he really likes it.
He really likes it. Is that better than the water you normally get?
I think it is. Alright, so that's the taste test done. I think it gets the seal of approval from the entire family. And that is one more piece of the off-grid puzzle locked in. The only question now is, how much power does it use to fill up the tanks? Big question. But before we get to that, let me just answer a few questions, because a lot of people have asked us why we chose both this make, model and particular unit, i.e. the very portable unit. It's ease of use. We like the fact that we could just take it with us. If we changed boats for whatever reason, we could take it with us easy. It's not too much of a hassle. We also like the idea that maybe there would be friends of ours in an anchorage, perhaps, where there wasn't a water supply and we could lend it to them and they could top their tanks up. Or God forbid you end up in some kind of humanitarian crisis where clean water is scarce, and again, you know, if you're there, you can get it to people when they need it nice and easily. So I liked all those aspects of it. If we did, however, change our mind and decided we wanted to permanently fit it, or at least semi-permanently fitted, there are a couple of brackets that it comes with, which means we could do that too. We like the brand, we like the fact that nobody really has a bad word to say about them. They seem pretty bulletproof, they're easy to get parts for, and this particular model can churn out, at optimal running conditions, 140 litres per hour. That literally means we need to run it for like 2 hours a week and we have all the water we need. There's a lot of you out there who would rather have something that's permanently installed, and that's probably the majority of people, but still loving the idea of tapping into the technology of Rainman. Well, they actually do a naked version, and if you want to find out more about the actual naked version and how to install it and all the upgrades and all the little bits that entails, then there's only one video in my mind to go and watch, and that's this guy here. Yes, it's one of our absolute favourite YouTube channels. It's Mads and Ava over at Sail Life, who very recently have installed the naked version of this. So I'll pop a link in the description, go check them out. If you haven't heard of their channel before, Sail Life, it's a cracking one, especially if you're into boat work, DIY and all that jazz. And before we get into just how much power this uses to fill our tanks, I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody who stopped by our little shop, or Carly's little shop, so they say, and bought some of her wares, some of her upcycled dog collars and leads and other bits and pieces that she sells. Also to everybody that bought one of these calendars. We made these last year with the sole intent of all the proceeds from this helping pay for the water maker. And lastly, but absolutely not least, everyone that supported us on Patreon. Our patrons have been megastars. Some have gone absolutely way above and beyond the call of duty to really help us get our hands on a water maker, and we owe you guys an absolute debt of gratitude. Thank you so much, and specifically to everyone who's joined since I gave a last shout out, and that's Paul Gibson, Simon Lacey, John Doughty, John Langton, Paul and Eva, Nick and Cassie, and Stuart McCullough. And last but certainly not least, to Pootsman. Thank you guys so much. We could not have done this without you, so thank you very much. Right, okay, lastly but not least, the power. How much power? So this here is a 10 litre water jerry can, and to fill this up, we monitored in our tanks, consumed 1.5% of our battery bank, and we have a 600 amp hour lithium battery bank with the fantastic polynovel batteries, which are just amazing. We're really enjoying those. They seem to be bulletproof so far, but 1.5% of the capacity, so that's 9 amps at 12 volts. So to put 100 litres in our tank, we'd be obviously looking at more like 90 amp hours, 15% of our capacity. And when this thing is running at full tilt, it can chop out 140 litres per hour, which is super impressive, and was another one of the reasons that we actually opted for this specific model, because they're not quiet either, and we want that noise running for as little time as possible. So just trying to find the right balance, and this is the one for us. And there we have it. That is the very last, I promise, of our upgrades, for the time being at least anyway. Now we can get on with doing the job that we absolutely love doing. As the very beginning of this video might have hinted, showing off this marvellous coastline to the max. So on that note, I'm off. I'm going to film some bits, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.